Hello, young man.
Good evening, everyone. Please be seated. Nice to see you.
Somebody stitched me up here.
Any way you can see?
Did you work that out? Do we have any apologies of absence?
We do. We have apologies from Councillor Clark, Councillor Bowering, Councillor Chopping, Councillor Housel, Councillor Elias Simons, Councillor Hobbs, Councillor Holdsworth, Councillor King, Councillor Lloyd, Councillor McGee-Sumner, Councillor Pittock, Councillor Singleton, Councillor Smith, Councillor Swanwell, Councillor Weeks, and Councillor Cowell. And Councillor Clark.
Thank you. Do we have any declarations of interest? In what I haven't a clue. And we also have public questions on, which we'll gloss over quickly. I'd like to move on to item 20 now, which is the appointment of an honorary alderman. And this is a historic evening, because this is the first one in Wokingham Borough, I believe. So I'd like to ask for a proposer, please, if I may. Corey?
I'd like to propose.
Who said that? I was looking upwards there.
I'll stand up. There we are. Your Worship, the following has been written by Julian McGee-Sumner, and I'm reading it on his behalf. Bob, I'm sorry I can't be with you this evening, and I'm also sorry for allowing you to think you were attending a town council meeting this evening, which is clearly not the case. But I hope you will understand for the need for this to be a surprise. I have written a few words that I hope Oliver will read out on my behalf. I was asked to stand for the Wokingham Town Council elections in May 2003 and was advised that if I wished to get on and learn the ropes, I needed to emulate Bob Wyatt. At that time, and ever since, I have tried to do this whenever possible, and to date, Bob has always given wise counsel, an honest view, and all conducted as a gentleman and friend. Even as recently as the elections in May of this year, whilst canvassing with Bob's replacement, following his decision to retire from the Borough Council, I still get asked on the doorstep, who am I? When I reply that I'm one of the members for Westcott Ward, I am often met with quizzical looks and the scratching of heads, which is often followed by, that can't be right, Bob Wyatt is our councillor. When I advise them that I am the other councillor, I tend to get a smile and a, oh, you're the trainee. Now some interesting facts about Bob. Bob first came to Wokingham in 1953 when he was posted to Arborfield as part of the REME. He went on to settle in Sturgis Road in the mid-60s and was elected to Norris Ward in 1968. In the 1972 election, again in Norris, he lost his seat by 1 vote. By this time he was serving in the Territorial Army from 1964 to 1981 and was persuaded to stand again at the next election. In 1983 he joined Wokingham Town Council in a seat that he still holds today. Bob is the longest serving member of Wokingham Town Council and is often more reliable than Google when we need to remember details of why a certain decision was made and why. Although Bob has stepped down from the Borough Council, I'm pleased to see him staying on Wokingham Town Council, and I can virtually guarantee that Bob will still get the same number of emails and calls as he has always done. great value for the council taxpayer. Bob is unique in many ways, but not more so as being the only person to have been town mayor, borough chairman and borough mayor. And since we no longer have a borough chairman, this will be a record that no one can repeat. As well as being a councillor and a great friend, Bob also continues to serve on the board of Wokingham United Charities and the County Archives. Bob, I hope you enjoy this evening, and I apologise again if I have slightly misled you about the nature of this evening. I promise not to do so again. Julian.
Pauline, do you wish to say something? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It gives me great pleasure to second the nomination of Bob Wyatt as Honorary Alderman of Wokingham Borough Council. As many of you know Bob well, and in particular his love of history, a superb collection of books, I thought it might be appropriate to start with a little potted history of the role as it has existed in England and Wokingham in particular. My first point of reference was the Victoria County history of Berkshire. Any errors, of course, are down to me. In Anglo-Saxon England, earldom or aldermen were high-ranking officials to the crown with administrative, judicial or military functions. Earls, governors of the shires and other persons of distinction received this title. In 1583, the Wokingham Charter granted by Queen Elizabeth confirmed certain privileges enjoyed from time immemorial by the town of Wokingham, such as the attendance of the Wokingham alderman at the Leet and Baron Court. The alderman at the Leet Court was also responsible for collecting tolls, which in 1835 it was ruled he could keep, and for his own use, and he was also clerk of the town market. In 1625, a bylaw in Wokingham made a fine leviable on the inhabitants of the town for not appointing an alderman. One can only hope this was repealed, as the overdue payments for the last 50 years at least could be rather considerable. The alderman had legislative, administrative and some judicial authority, sitting with the High Steward, Justice and Recorder at the Court of the Quarter Sessions, which had jurisdiction over offences not affecting life and limb. This included the right to imprison people unable to maintain themselves and very obstinately refusing to work in the silk stocking trade, or any other, which seemed to be some form of employment of last resort in Wokingham at the time. Under the Municipal Reform Act of 1835, municipal borough corporations were created consisting of aldermen and councillors, with the councillors elected by the voters and the aldermen by the councillors. In 1882, Wokingham Town was a municipal borough with a mayor, 4 aldermen and 12 councillors. But in 1972, the Local Government Act, the old office of alderman was abolished as being thought of as undemocratic for all but the London boroughs, which followed suit in 1978. This act also transferred most of the administration of Wokingham Town to Wokingham District, now Borough Council. However, councils are still able to appoint honorary aldermen, and that's what we're assembled to do tonight. According to Jim Bell's book on Wokingham mayors, Bob won his first election in 1969, is that the same date? There was a bit of doubt about this one. In Norwich Ward, but has lost the seat 3 years later by 1 vote, as has been said. He was re-elected to Wokingham Council, representing Westcott in 1983, and has served the ward since 1994. Bob has given a long and very distinguished service on both Wokingham Borough Council and its predecessors. I've been a member of this council for a mere 8 years, and as with all new members, Bob made it his business to encourage me, to make me feel welcome when I first joined. He's a sound source of advice and guidance and can be relied upon to do a very thorough job on behalf of the residents of Wokingham. He's been diligent in many roles he's performed during his many years of service. In addition, an added bonus, I and possibly others have the opportunity to buy the occasional old book from his car boot after the council meetings. I can think of no more deserving person for this honour and hope we will see him at many future occasions as he enjoys his retirement from the council. Well done, Bob.
Councillor Stanton.
I thought I was speaking last.
No, fine.
First. Right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I think much has already been said and well known about the councillor as he was, Bob Wyatt, a man with whom I personally have huge respect for, his knowledge, his thoughtfulness, and his famous work that he has done right across the borough for a very long time indeed. It is quite interesting to note, right at the other end of the borough, in Fitchhampton. You are well known down there as well, Bob, for some of the excellent work you've been doing. And I think that huge credit to you, huge credit. You have a very impressive record, and you are very well known and respected right across the borough. If anybody deserves this honour, it is you, Bob White. I think it's been a privilege working with you. You have always supported me. You've been very supportive and friendly towards me. You were from the first day I came. And that was indeed 16 long years ago. I was much younger and had hair then. But those days are gone. But Bob, you have been a treasure, a supporter, a very long distinguished councillor in this borough. And it is absolutely right that these members have come here tonight to actually witness this fantastic thing which has not happened in this borough for a very, very long time. And it says everything about you that this room fills up with so many people in your honour. I wish you every success. I congratulate you. And really well done, Bob White. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I first realised Bob was retiring, I did feel that the council did not have any processes to recognise such an amazing contribution by an individual to our community in so many different ways. So back in December last year, I was pleased to get a suggestion from Councillor Jorgensen here about bringing in the concept of honorary alderman for him. That started a whole chain of events to get us to where we are today. Those of us involved in the beginning, including officers, decided that we would like to keep that as a surprise for Bob. Can you imagine? We had to change the constitution, which involved a constitution review group. We had to decide exactly what those changes were. We had to make sure anything given to Bob was appropriate at all, at the same time trying to make sure Bob was oblivious to what was actually going on behind his back. We operated on a need-to-know basis. MI5 and MI6 would have loved what we were doing for all that time. But I think we have done it, although we've had some close calls several times. So can I say a thank you to everyone who helped us achieve this, from my group to the opposition group and officers, the secrecy. Now tonight you will hear a lot of great comments about Bob from a lot of councillors, so I'll leave it to them to do this and try and restrict myself to a few words. That's a few Keith Baker words, not a few Rob Stanton words. Bob, you've been a great friend to this council, individual councillors, and most of all the residents of Wokingham. In every aspect of your tremendous and lengthy public service, you have always acted with the highest ethical and moral values. Every one of us in this chamber can learn something from you, and we should all aspire to reach the standards that you have set. Your personal interaction with new councillors has always been second to none, offering both the hand of friendship and the pearls of wisdom from your experience as they embark on their exciting career as a local councillor. For those of us who have been around for a little bit longer, you have always been available to act as a sounding board for views and ideas as they emerge, acting as that important critical friend, helping to refine them so that they can become acceptable. So can I add my congratulations to you, Bob, on receiving this very first award of Honorary Alderman from this council. You have well and truly earned it.
Bob has given a lifetime of service to the people of Wokingham, having served as a councillor on and off, well, a few years off for good behaviour, for the past 48 years. And although he has stood down from this council, he still has 3 years of his term as a town councillor left, which will take him past half a century. That is a remarkable record.
not least because he's managed throughout that entire time to be calm and measured and have remained the epitome of reasonableness. And it's always been clear that Bob cares about people, especially those who find themselves struggling through life. He wants young people to have the best possible start, and his work over many years on social services, as we used to call it, did much to help people across the area. Even recently, at an age when many would have long retired, he worked on the housing strategy and was determined to do his best with it for everyone in our community, especially those with specialised housing needs. I don't want to make this a long list of all the roles that Bob has had as a councillor, because for one thing, if I did, just naming them would take up the entire time allowed for my speech. But what is more important is that whatever role he has had, he's carried it out with commitment, with fairness, with good humour and a large dollop of common sense, and he will be much missed on this council. Bob, you've earned the respect of everyone in this chamber over many years. On this side, we wish you a long and happy retirement, and we're pleased to be able to congratulate you on becoming this borough's very first honorary alderman.
With your permission, I'm just going to say a few short words, and then I'll open it up to members and intersperse it between people who want to speak and people who give me things to read out. Bob, I've known you for a short time. In that time, you've been a fountain of wisdom, a source of guidance, and a good friend. I thank you for your help, your support over the years. You've taught me a lot, and I'm, as I said to you when you retired from the council, who's going to keep me on the straight and narrow now? But to know you're around in the area is still good, and I'm very proud that this is going to be the highlight of my year tonight. And I just want to say a real personal thank you to you, to old Bob from young Bob. Good luck. Thank you. Excuse me. I'm going to read Councillor Diane King's words she sent to me, and then I'll ask any other members if they wish to speak. This is from Diane. I'm very sorry that I cannot be there tonight, Bob, for this very special occasion. We have worked together for a long time, since you welcomed me to my first town council meeting, and also on many occasions during your time as Older People's Champion, when I was executive member for community development, and of course when you were my deputy when I was borough mayor. I very much appreciated your help and guidance during all these times. Congratulations, the award is well deserved. Okay, any other members wish to speak? And I expect to see a sea of hands going on. Councillor Pollock. You've got no hands on that, Beth.
Anybody else?
Okay. Okay, Councillor Pollock.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was reflecting as I was sitting listening to others speak that Bob and I were elected the same year to the old district council, 1994. And Oliver reminded me of Bob's habit of taking somebody under his wing, because I ended up on this Health and Housing Committee that Bob had been made chairman of. And he took me under his wing. I became his vice chairman, I think 6 months later. And with the development of the unitary process, we took on looking at social services, trying to understand what we were taking over, did a lot of work on that. And Bob was the first chairman of the Social Services Committee and did a huge amount of work setting it up. Prue was talking about his care and interest in people, and particularly his care for people with vulnerabilities. And I think the lessons that we took on as a council at that time owe a lot to Bob and Bob's interests. I also was struck by so often councillors, when they step down from the executive, sometimes they don't stay around very long, but Bob has stayed around. He's championed older people, he's supported his fellow councillors, as people have said, and I think it's a huge tribute to you personally, Bob, that you have been so supportive for so many members, from Rob Stanton when he came on the council, to Pauline and to others, and a great tribute that this honour should be given to you tonight. And I really thank you for what you've given to me in the time that we've been on this council together. Thank you.
Right, the next words are from Councillor Bath. He says, Bob has been the community champion for the working BME communities over many years. He has supported the communities in many ways. He has been a chair and joint chair of the Working BME Forum. He has always done the summing up at the end of all the Black History Month celebratory events. He has been the catalyst for reaching out to the needs of the BME communities. His tireless efforts have helped to fuse the BME communities together. Bob's contributions above make him a very suitable candidate to be confirmed as the Alderman of Wokingham. I truly believe that a road should be named after him, to be called Alderman Bob Wyatt Road. Hopefully not for many years, Bob, because I think you have to not be here for that. Okay, Councillor Ross, do you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Many things have already been said, but in the absence of Councillor Elliott Simons, I think I should say something as the longest serving now councillor in this chamber, and well remember the day that Bob joined us here, and as Anthony has reflected, straight into the deep end with housing. Councillor Bath used the word champion, and I think this is one word that very much sums up so much of Bob's contribution. Has been a champion of especially the older people in our borough, and many of the disadvantaged groups, and how much he is known and worked with them. When I was in a position there, we'd go to all sorts of events. If it had anything to do with anybody over 50, Bob was there. So he also had humility. I remember meeting him at the opening of a Millgate Homes site in Finchhampstead, and the then mayor of Wokingham Town was there, and of course everybody lauded the mayor, and Bob carried this off as the chairman of this council, as he then was, with such ease, and didn't make a fuss about it, but I think some of us made a fuss afterwards about it. So I'm delighted that this post has been created and that Bob has joined as the first person. Very well deserved. Really enjoyed working with you. Thank you, Bob.
The next words are from Councillor Stuart Munro. I would like to pass on my congratulations and thanks to Bob for his fantastic service to the residents. Well done, and I shall miss your contribution to the meetings. Councillor Richards, do you want to say something?
Thank you, Mayor. I've known Bob Wyatt since we both joined Wokingham Town Council on the same year, back in the 1980s. Bob was already a rejoiner even then, but I was a new town councillor. And at full council meetings in those early days, we both used to have to sit down the far end of a long table because councillors located down this table according to their alphabetic sequence of surname and their length of service. So long-standing councillors just sit up the top end with the mayor and the newcomers down the bottom. And since we both joined, even as a rejoiner, we had to sit down the bottom end. But I was in front of Bob at that point because I was a Richards with an R and he was Wyatt with a W. But that was the only time I could ever claim to be ahead of him in any sort of council position. Bob was always a fount of knowledge on matters like constitution and historical and heritage matters. He was also very well respected for his kind support of new councillors and his ability to very clearly summarise difficult situations for the benefit of others. I think we will miss Bob's presence in council, and I would certainly like to wish him joy in his well-earned retirement. So congratulations on your prestigious award, Alderman Wyatt. Good luck, Bob.
A few words here from Councillor Philip Holdsworth. I've served on councils with Bob over the last 10 years, initially on Wokingham Town and then jointly with the Borough. In my mind, he has set a standard for what an elected councillor should be. I will always remember his wisdom and the appropriateness of his contributions to debates. I will be sorry not to have this pleasure in the future, and I wish Bob all the very best in his long-earned retirement. Although I suspect local organisations will be beating on his door, and he will continue in his service to the local community. Councillor Ashwell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bob, I'd like to thank you personally for being a fantastic role model and mentor to me. Thank you. And as Julian has already said, if I want to know anything about Wokingham Borough Council or Wokingham Town Council, I don't Google it, I Bob Wyatt it. And will continue to do so. Thank you, Bob.
The last words I've got here are from Councillor Hobbs. There were two other councillors sent some words in, but I don't appear to have them, but we will make sure that they are included and sent to you, Bob. Okay. Congratulations, Bob. A well-deserved nomination. Sorry I cannot be with you tonight. 39,000 feet in the air on my way to Greece. Some people don't get the priorities right, do they? Thank you for your support my first time round. Councillor Holden.
What is saying is very well deserved, and if I achieved half of what you've done, I would regard it as a great success. Well done.
Councillor Ryan.
Thank you, Bob. As the longest serving Liberal Democrat, and I joined this council just 2 years after Bob, I'd like to say to him, Bob, you're a very unusual politician, in that from everyone that I know, you command respect. Everyone believes in your integrity and honesty, and those things are more valuable than a lot of rewards that are got these days. And this is a reward for being you, being honourable, showing your integrity at all times to all parties, and being trustworthy. Bob, congratulations. Have a long time using this.
By the process of modern technology and also the well-respected Anne Hunter, I now have the words. This is Councillor Pauline Kelly-Simons. When I was executive member for adult social care, Bob was my right-hand man, and I could not have done the job so successfully without him. He was champion for older people and had an instinctive empathy with them. I'm not sure what she's saying there, Bob. Seeing them with much understanding through a period of great change when we were moving more towards prevention and also towards the current system of looking after people in their own homes for as long as possible, which most older people prefer. During his time as champion, the older people's forums came into their own and were very highly successful. I believe among the most successful and well attended in the country. They were well attended throughout the many different areas of the borough and helped feed ideas into many areas that eventually found their way into council policies. Bob was always open-minded, fair in drawing his conclusions, honest with everyone he dealt with, and utterly well respected by everyone who worked with him. I trusted him totally. Very good words there. Councillor Omakarum Clark, please.
Thank you. I was elected to Wokingham Town Council 14 years ago, and it became clear very quickly that Bob was the person one could turn to if there was a question or any problems of any kind. The word that hasn't been used here tonight is the word modest, because that is what Bob is. He's modest, he's not the besserwisser. Quite often we know that Bob has an answer to a question, but he doesn't volunteer it. We have to drag it out of him because he never puts himself above anybody else. It's with great pleasure I stand here in the knowledge that he will continue to serve on Wokingham Town Council, because we need Bob. He knows absolutely everything there is to know about the local authority, and he has an intimate knowledge of other things which sometimes can be very useful. Say no more. I won't say anything more, I promise. Then I had the, again, great pleasure of becoming Bob's deputy when he was Borough Mayor. And I then discovered not only did he have a great wealth of knowledge, but he's also a scholar and a gentleman. And it was a fantastic experience to go out with Bob when he was doing his Borough Mayor role and to see how happy people were to receive him and how well he interacted with everyone on every level. So Bob, it is very sad that you are no longer a Borough Councillor, but I can't think of any better person to be the older man. And please accept my congratulations.
The last words I have are from Councillor David Chopping. I first met Bob more than 30 years ago when he was a regular visitor to our then Reading auction rooms. He was always courteous, thorough and a real gentleman. Professional dealers listened carefully to anything he had to say. His knowledge is encyclopedic and he always made sense. Not bad for a politician. Councillor Lee, please.
Thank you very much. Bob, congratulations. Some of you may not know, but it's Bob's fault that I ended up here, and he put up with me. Bob pointed out the error of my ways when I first joined him on the town council. The only thing that I'm a bit disappointed about is that he's standing down from this one, but not the town, so I'm still 1 year behind Bob on the town council. Bob, I'm delighted to be in that position after you, and also I'd just like to mention a lot of people are saying about the expertise that Bob has on constitutional matters, which he does, but he also gives a pretty good talk on the first air raid over England. And I think you're a bit of an expert on Morris Minor cars, is that correct, Bob? Austin 7, sorry. Bob, thank you very much for pointing out the error of my ways that night, coming down the stairs, and many congratulations on the award tonight.
Do any other members wish to say anything? No, well, we move on to the resolution before us tonight, which I'm trusting is a mere formality. And that's the recommendation before us is that the Council, in sincere appreciation of the distinguished public service rendered by him to the Borough of Wokingham, does hereby admit Mr. Robert John William Wyatt to be an honorary alderman of the Borough of Wokingham in recognition of his untiring service over a period of 22 years to the people of the borough, and particularly to those of the Westcott Ward, on committees of the Council, to local organisations, and the offices of Chairman and Mayor. Can I have an indication, please, for formality's sake? Thank you. That is unanimous. Bob, would you stand up, please? I'll come to you. Let me present this to you. That's your illuminated scroll. Not sure where you want to put it. Excellent. Yeah, you turn around. You'll still be on that. Thank you, Steve. Stay there.
Put that down where I won't knock it over.
Right, Meadows, what?
Big small bobs.
You have to sign the book, Bob.
Get married.
I just did the check.
This could take some time.
Right. I don't know what the correct address is for an alderman, but would the new alderman care to address the council?
Well, I don't know. But one thing I do know is that I'm in a room full of friends here. People who've been friends for an awful long time, and I'm very grateful and very proud that you've all been my friends, all of you from both political parties, or all political parties when there are more than two here. And they've all been friendly to me, which has been wonderful. Now, when I knew that I was reaching my 85th year, I knew that it was about time for me to stand down for someone more able and younger than I. And I thought I'd gently and quietly be able to not stand for election, say goodbye to everyone, and that was the end. I wouldn't be bothered anymore with council work. And there have been some good things about not being a councillor anymore. You don't get stopped in the street by people telling you that they've just tripped over a paving stone. You don't get worries about people's planning applications. And you don't stay out late at night in this chamber until about 11 o'clock, dead tired, and have to go home and do all your housework. And what's more, you don't get about 200 emails a day. Do you know, this morning I had 6 emails, and that's all. Now, that would usually have been somewhere like 30. So when I went, I thought, well, I'm going, I've done my bit. It's been wonderful to be here with so many good friends, and I shall miss you all like mad, of course, but I shall see quite a lot of you. And now you come and embarrass me and surprise me by making me an alderman. Aldermen were always something I laughed at in my youth. And I hope that you're not going to laugh at me. But when I tell you that the alderman of Wokingham Borough Council, the original Wokingham Borough Council that I first joined, the aldermen were selected from the senior councillors, and from then on, once they were elected aldermen of the council, they didn't have to stand before the electors again, and they kept their posts until they died. Well, I'm glad I'm not being given a job like that. I'd have to come back and work here. Anyway, being here has been absolutely wonderful, and I shall always remember it. I have missed not coming, and I shall no doubt miss it again. But whatever there is in this role that I can do to help this council and foster its interests, I will do so as your honorary alderman. And thank you very much indeed for giving me this honour and privilege so unexpectedly. And I'm going to kick my family up. No, it's Pauline who's I'm going to blame, is it? Well, thank you very much, everyone, and I'm really very grateful.
That concludes our meeting for this evening, and I think you'll all agree with me it's been a very special evening, and one I've thoroughly enjoyed and one I will remember for a very, very long time. To celebrate, we have drinks and a few nibbles in the David Hicks room, so please do come and join us where we toast Bob now. Thank you very much.